Welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. So today we're going to be talking about something that I feel we should have talked about long ago, and that is data structures and algorithms and how to master and learn them. So if you're someone who's interested in a career in computer science, data science or software engineering, data structures are going to be a very fundamental part of your career. And you're not only going to meet them in the working place, but data structures are a key defining factor when it comes to coding and technical interviews. So definitely you would really want to invest and take the time to learn and master these data structures. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 different steps that are really helpful when it comes to learning and mastering these data structures. So the first and very important point is that you need to make sure that you are comfortable in at least one programming language. You need to make sure that you understand the basics, you can write code in this language, you know how it works, and that you're comfortable in working with and writing a program using this language. The reason why I'm saying this is that when it comes to data structures, to understand them, you're going to have to write code in it. So definitely you'd want to write your data structures in a language that you're comfortable in, because that is how you're going to understand it and that is how you're going to get to master it. And there are many resources out there that can help you when it comes to learning different programming languages. All you need to do is to decide what language do you want to learn. When it comes to online sources, I would recommend sources like Udemy or Coursera. And if you're someone who's a beginner in programming, I would recommend the Harvard CS50 class. It is a very important class that would really help you to understand the basic concepts of programming and will help you get an idea of how coding or how programming works. So feel free to check that class out, and once you are comfortable in a programming language, you're definitely ready to proceed to the next step, which is learning the data structures and algorithms. And you can do this online, or if you're someone who's in college and are in the computer science or data science track, you're definitely going to encounter this as one of your college credit requirements. But if you're doing this online, there are many resources out there again, and I'm going to recommend a few. So one, there is Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp has some very good courses on data structures, and this would be really helpful for someone who's looking for a free site. You can also look into Udemy. I'm going to recommend some courses here, and you can also check out Coursera. So how do you make sure that you get to benefit from these classes that you're taking online? The one thing that I will always and have always recommended is making sure that you take down notes of these data structures. You want to be able to write down this data structure from scratch in code on a paper. That would mean that you basically understand and already have knowledge of how this data structure works. And you want to be able to write down the pros and the cons of different data structures. And by doing so, you're going to be able to know why would you choose this data structure over these other data structures. You want to be able to write down the difference between different data structures. You want to write down the big O's of these data structures. And one trick that really worked for me was I wrote down a cheat sheet of all the data structures that I had learned. And each and every time that I would go to the cheat sheet and revise the big O's, I was able to remember what I was thinking about, or rather what I had learned about each data structure. Writing down notes is not only helpful when it comes to learning data structures, it is basically helpful when it comes to learning everything. So you want to make sure that you incorporate this practice in your life and make sure that you use this practice when it comes to whatever thing that you want to learn. And trust me, it's really going to go a long way in helping you. And so the third and very important thing that you also need to do is to practice. Practice, practice, practice. And by practice, I mean perfect practice. And what is perfect practice? You don't want to do 10,000 questions on data structures and at the end of the day you still cannot remember whatever you've learned, or rather at the end of the day when you meet this question somewhere else, you do not remember or do not even know how to approach the problem. By perfect practice, I mean be diligent on how you do these questions. Be diligent on what resources you use. Be diligent on the time that you put into this. So the resources that I personally recommend are LeetCode. LeetCode is very, very helpful, and it has a ton of questions that once you start solving these questions, and once you keep solving these questions and keep practicing, you'll start noticing a couple of similarities in different problems, and with time you'll start getting comfortable with these concepts. Another resource that I really recommend is the Cracking the Coding Interview book. This is a book that I personally would say that every developer, every software engineer, or every data scientist out there should have. I mean, it is a really helpful book, and you'll get to learn a lot of things that you're not taught in class. So if you're trying to invest in a book that would really help you learn data structures and algorithms, be sure to check the book out. And like I said, as much as you practice, make sure that you are diligent and that the methods that you put in your practice are going to be helpful and will contribute in helping you deepen your knowledge on these data structures. And finally, what I would say is that be ready to put in the time and put in the work to be able to learn and master this data structure. And by putting in the time and work, what I mean is that you're not going to be able to learn these data structures in one day. You're not going to be able to learn these data structures in 1 week. It might take as long as 1 month for others, 2 months. It might take as long as 5 months for others. So just be able to appreciate your process and take the correct steps to learning, and trust me, it's gonna pay off. And those are the 3 things that have worked for me that I hope will get to work for you as well. And thank you so much, and I will see you on the next video.